Kia ora. We will have a look at the spreadsheet, which is a manual way of recording and having some calculations done automatically for a synthetic nitrogen application on your farm. This is part of the public-facing component of the NCAP web form website, so you don't need to have registered or signed in to access this spreadsheet. The spreadsheet itself sits in the Help Centre. Either clicking on this or scrolling down, here's the section right at the top. It's a downloadable spreadsheet. We suggest that you can download at least one per year to keep for your records. It's a manual record, and doesn't form part of the compliance reporting requirements, but can be a useful tool to help work out the data that needs to go into the web form itself. It's an Excel spreadsheet. However, that does not mean you need to run Excel to use it. Google Sheets and even some of the web browsers like Microsoft Edge will allow you to input the information, and the calculations will work right the way through. You access this simply by clicking on this download button now, and a download will start. I've previously done that, so I'm going to click out to the Excel spreadsheet that I've been using. I've got a clean sheet and one with a worked up example to show how that might work for somebody with a farm. So having a look here at the front page, once you've downloaded that file and opened it, the first page is simply, here's what's involved, and this is what the tabs are, the major tabs of this Excel spreadsheet. If you've had a look around the rest of the help, you'll see that there's information there about contiguous land holdings and grazed land and those types of explanations as well. So it is a manual form, and it won't automatically send the data to the NCAP web form tool. Another thing to note, that if you use Hawkeye or My Balance for reporting, you don't need to submit any further information. You're welcome to use this spreadsheet. However, those tools there, Hawkeye and My Balance, will do the same job for you. So important to remember, and this is why it's on the front page, if there's a yellow field in any of these other pages of this workbook, that's where you enter data. The green fields are calculated by an equation in the back of the spreadsheet, and that's the information you need for reporting in the NCAP tool. And then there are grey fields, which is other calculated information, which is of interest but not required by the regulations. So this is your record of the synthetic nitrogen application, which has been put onto your farm in that regulatory period. There are a series of tabs along the bottom so that you can, for each of those different land types, work out what the application, what type of fertilizer it is, based on the percentage of synthetic nitrogen, what that application rate is. And there's a list of fertilizer names. It's not exhaustive. It covers off some of the major names. And then here there's a summary. That's the information that goes through into the web form. I'm going to click across to another version of this. This is simply one that has been pre-populated with some information. So same thing, instructions there. Now if I look at my grazed forage crops, each sheet has an explanation up here of what this term grazed forage crop means, and that's consistent with what's in the regulations. So as a farmer, I enter that total area in hectares of what land I have sitting as a grazed forage crop. I can then put in a paddock reference. So I've got two different areas of my farm where I'm growing kale as a forage crop. So I've simply called them Kale 1 and Kale 2. One of them is a 15 hectare lot, contiguous land, one's 17 hectares. I have then entered in the dates that I've applied that fertiliser, the type of fertiliser that I've applied. Now this is grey rather than yellow because I've gone over to this fertiliser names list, and I've copied those 2 cells and pasted them into that field, which was yellow before I brought it across. Then I've added in the kilograms of that fertiliser applied, and based on the area and the percentage of nitrogen fertiliser and the kilograms, the spreadsheet has worked out how many kilos of synthetic nitrogen have been applied and what that application rate looks like. And then across that 12-month period that I need to report on, those have been totaled up here, and I've ensured that I've put that 15 plus 17 hectares into that total area. Then as a farmer, I've got the majority of my farm is in grass, grazed pasture. Again, we've got that explanation of what this means inside the regulations. I've entered my 150 hectares of grazed pasture. Once again, I've got these different paddock references. They're personal to me, and I've got 76 hectares in total in those back paddocks 1 through 4, a further 74 hectares in 5 and 6. I've only put one application of nitrogen on that area on the 24th of October, but across these 4 paddocks I've applied 35 tonnes or 35,000 kilos, and across those 2 paddocks, because they needed more, I put on 32 tonnes. Again, that calc has happened in the background. I've moved across to my grazed harvest crops, so I've got a cut and carry lucerne plot of 25 hectares, but I didn't put any fertiliser on that because lucerne being a nitrogen fixer, I didn't need to apply any nitrogen, and it's on 25 hectares where my soil test showed it didn't need any. Still useful to note that I've got that area of land because I put that total area here at top. Ungrazed land, well, that's the home paddock. I've got a hectare in and around the house, a couple of sheep, an area for the kids to ride their bikes on. Again, there was a bit of leftover nitro on the 24th of October from one of the other applications, spread that around on the home paddock, closed the windows, and away we went. So that application rate there of 299 kilograms per hectare exceeds that 190 kilograms per hectare cap, but because the cap only applies to grazed land, that's not of a significant worry. When I get through to finishing my full year's application, and you can go back and add more records to the spreadsheet as the FERT gets applied, it's summarised up into this front sheet. So I have 207 hectares in grazed land, 1 hectare of ungrazed land. So my contiguous land holding, again, that's part of the regs, is a total of 208 hectares. These green boxes give me the information that I'm going to need to put into the NCAP tool. So simply, this is a way of recording as you go, which will then summarise up to the major information needed for the NCAP tool. I talked about being able to keep a sort of continuous record of what's going on a farm. On this example page, I've got various types of grazed pasture, various types of fertiliser being applied, different hectare areas. All of those can be just kept as a running record. So simply, this is a downloadable spreadsheet which can be useful should you wish to use it. It's not compulsory to use, but it's a good way of summarising through to these fields here, which in green, if we remember from that front page, that's the field that are needed for reporting in NCAP. So thanks for listening. If you need further information around this, it's available through farm advisors, through your compliance officers at the council, and of course by reading in more detail than I've skimmed over on the various instructions pages. and the help page on the NCAP web form. Thank you.